All righty. I wasn't planning on going live today. I didn't announce it early, so I have no idea if anybody's going to come on here. I do have some of my art to my left here. I might wait till see if anybody comes on. If not, I'll just show my art, maybe talk about it. I know that it's nothing to do with my usual stuff, but here we go. I did get my thermometer today, just a couple minutes ago. So we'll see what happens with that. Um, yeah. Uh, I really think it's kind of interesting. I was looking into that Wilson's temperature syndrome. It does have a lot of characteristics that I have. So looking into that, I did get some vitamin D3 today. It's a very hard to find vegan, but I did. I got some K2. I already have some magnesium. Um, so I'm going to try that out as well. It just some of the stuff just isn't adding up to me. And it makes a lot of sense because Durian Rider seems to struggle the most with Americans, and I wonder if it has something to do with the depleted food that we eat or what. Because I have known people that go to Europe for extended periods of time before, eat whatever the hell they want to, and have absolutely they absolutely look better and lose significant amount of weight when they come back, or while they're over there, and I notice it when they come back. So I want to play around with a few different things. I was talking to somebody today about setting up a how to set up a coaching type group. So that's going to be coming down the works. I know I've been working on that this entire year, but it just kind of is the way it is. I really struggle with certain aspects of that. But we'll wait to see how many people come on. I did, like I said in the beginning, have some artwork that I've done over the years, kind of to my left here. People have been asking me about it. I was going to do it on the Friday because the artist that I know comes on Friday, but we'll see what happens here. So I guess I'm going to get started. So hopefully this will actually focus on them. It looks all right. So this one is, I used to make a bunch of drawings. I think you can see one right there, one right there of me just making contraptions out of just whatever I could find in different shapes and stuff. But it was all kind of driven by a bicycle mechanic. And that is kind of like an elephant there. Well, not kind of, it is an elephant, and it's kind of, it's a mechanical, and you operate it by a bike mechanism. Any thoughts? Or are you familiar with MCT oil? I am. I used to use it back in my lifting days, but I haven't used it too much. Anyway, I'm gonna just show a couple of these things. So here's I don't really do much you know mountain biking or anything, but this is kind of just a mountain bike type. I don't even know what kind of design. I just kind of drew it out of the back of my head one day. Here's one that was kind of not kind of is inspired by Japan, and it's basically just people sitting around, a ramen bar, just chilling out. I know he looks a little serious, but this is his back in the day, even though ramen really wasn't around back then. Here is another one. I'm just gonna keep going till I get questions. Here's another cycling one. It's just kind of like a graffiti wall. Really, no, it was just burn fat, not oil type thing. Nice artwork. I like the bike pick. Thanks. Here's one. I saw like a water droplet, and I just thought, like, wouldn't it be funny if you could live in like a bubble like that in like paradise? So this is just a watercolor. I love how I just got these sitting in a cardboard box somewhere. Here's one called The Government. And basically, this is a government loon, and here's what they think of us as citizens down here, just throwing pennies at us, even though he's got money coming out of every which direction and taking more. Freedom is ours to take. I have on the thing. Here's one I did. How interesting. Thank you. Here's one I did, just like little worlds. So here's one of mushrooms. Here's just out in a galaxy. Here is one people living in a reconditioned, basically windmill. And that is just like a ghost town. People are living in it. All right. This is actually the one that's always behind me. This is actually the original. The one behind me is just a printed version of it. It's just, again, I always have this idea of living in like a small ecosystem. Here is this. Man, if you really watch it's like ecosystems. People living on like this huge whale. It's basically Japanese inspired. I don't know if that's that one's focusing. So it's just living on a whale. These are almost all pen and marker. Some of them are watercolor. This is watercolor. This really isn't anything in particular. This one actually, of all of them, got so much interest on social media. I think it's just because of the bright color. Here is, I was testing out watercolor, and it's just this woman underneath here, and she's just swimming through the other end, but it's just a tree floating on an island. I've got a lot more, but I didn't feel like dragging it out. And here's the last one. Just a dude on a bike going for a ride. But I got hundreds more. I just didn't feel like dragging them out. This really isn't an art channel. But people ask me about it. So if you want to see it, just go rewatch it. If you don't want to see it, don't go rewatch it. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to start taking my temperature in the morning, see where it's at, kind of monitoring that. I can't really think of anything else to say. So if people don't start question, comment, amazing. Thank you. I'd probably just check out. I really had no intention of getting on here today because I thought it was going to be out, but it just didn't happen. As far as the MCT oil goes, it was a big fad back in, I don't want to say, maybe it was actually the 90s. It might have actually been the 90s. If it was the 90s, it was the late 90s. I think it was the early 2000s. I didn't really see any benefit from it. I tried it for a little while, and I know that's when they started putting out the coconut oil real heavily too. And I think the MCT was in the coconut oil, and it just kind of felt to me like a marketing thing to sell coconut oil more than anything. So I just didn't buy into it. I've never been into when you can really tell that they're just marketing. So like the collagen right now. Collagen's really big. They're pushing that real heavily. Whey protein has been, like heavily marketed, even though it was a terrible byproduct that nobody wanted back in the day. It's just this marketing 101. Do you think the gut microbiome has important role in healthy metabolism and weight loss? 100%. If you look at something, I know Cleveland Clinic's doing, and I think some other large hospitals are doing it. They're doing these fecal transplants. So that what they'll do is they basically take, fecal matter from a skinny person and put it in a fat person, and they can make the fat person turn skinny. They don't actually take, I don't know, they take some kind of, substance out of it, and they inject it into the person, and their microbiome completely changes, and they become skinny without changing their diet, without doing anything. And if they do it in reverse, if they take it from a fat person and put it in a skinny person, the skinny person then gets fat. So 100% microbiome plays a huge role. in as far as metabolism, I don't know that it plays a huge role in metabolism, but it would play a huge role in weight loss. I don't know how it would change your metabolism, but as far as being able to digest, I mean, you might have the fastest metabolism in the world, but if you can't digest what you're eating, then it's really not gonna do a whole lot of good. So they kinda work with each other. I don't know if anybody saw the short that I did, yesterday. I thought a bunch of, people would see that one. I guess it just didn't get out there, but, kinda making a joke about when you're really stressed, how basically your digestion, your metabolism kinda just well, for some people, when they're really stressed, their metabolism goes like crazy. Some people, it doesn't do anything, and it goes absolutely nowhere. So, yeah, I guess it just depends on who you are and how your body reacts to everything. Alright. I like I said, I was just gonna get on here for a few minutes. Any more comments, questions? Wonder if making weight in, say, the wrestling, boxing, world impacts weight gain 100%. It's kinda like the starvation nation. You know, when you're starving yourself, you're gonna lose weight initially, and then your body is going to rebound from that at some point in time, and then you are going to struggle with weight. I know a lot of not a ton. I wrestled myself. I don't really have huge contact with the people I wrestled with, but the couple that I did do have contact with, they actually struggle now with weight loss, and they used to wrestle in the like 150 pound or less range. Is a set point theory true? Yes. I McDougal actually did a video about that. Um, and he found that it to be true, but he also said that you can get past it. But like if you watch my videos and I talk about this, the my set point seems to be around 260 to 280 because eating even just the same diet, my body has gone down to 225 like 3 or 4 times now, and then it always seems to return no matter what. Even if I don't, I don't really change the diet too much, it'll just return back to that set point, and I'm trying to figure out why the hell that is. Um, I don't know. Right now, I honestly have been struggling to eat. I have just had no interest in it. I've been actually today all I had was watermelon juice, and then I'm gonna have potato soup after I get done with this. But I've been, I don't know, there's something about when it gets hotter and more humid, my hunger is just not as much as it usually is. Do you still follow low fat? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't like to eat too much fat because when you eat too much fat, like, naturally, I wanna eat fat. I was actually on a call earlier with somebody today that, uh and I was talking about this, like, naturally, I'm the person that gravitates towards fatty food, whereas, like, when I was growing up and my friends who are skinny, they would naturally gravitate toward high carb, low fat, and I would naturally gravitate towards high fat, high protein, high everything. And you can see the result. You can see the body style. You can see, what happens when somebody naturally gravitates towards fatty foods. So I try not to go anywhere near them because I do crave them pretty significantly. Thank you for answering my question. So glad to have found you, courtesy of following Dr. Rogers. Oh, cool. Yeah, you know what? He and I look like we're going to be doing a interview conversation type thing every month. Uh, we'll see what happens because I know he's got his regular hours and everything like that. But I did have some questions come up that people wanted me to ask him, and I had some things that I want to ask him myself. So hopefully that happens. Even if it's not every month, like a couple times a year, that's fine. I did reach out to that Dr. Goldner. I really would like to get her on here. I'm hoping I can get a hold of some of these like larger entities and start asking them questions. I think it would be interesting. Some people just won't even bother responding. I would rather you respond and say, "Not gonna happen," than just, like, ignore me. I don't like the ignoring thing, but we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, Peter Rogers, he seems like a good dude. Doesn't, Goldner promote the keto? Alright, so here's the thing, that's what I wanted to talk to her about, because it really seems like if you look at her macronutrients, and I have had some of her legion come on here and really, hate on me, but if you really look at her macronutrients, it really genuinely looks like keto life, and she has gone on to have debates with keto people. It's just like I I don't know, so this is what I wanted to talk to her about. We'll see what happens. Vegan keto, yeah, but I know it's raw. I really don't know. I don't know what her thing is, so I would really love, to get her, on here and interview her. Greetings from, what is it, Nice, France? Man, it's far away. What are you guys, like, 5 or 6 hours ahead? It's like midnight over there. Speaking on macros, what are yours? I don't really do a lot of chronometer. Uh, an example today was watermelon, but most of the time it's right now anyway. It's watermelon, bananas, dates, potatoes, rice once in a while, pasta once in a while. That's about it. Just stick with McDougal and you'll be fine. No, I don't do well with that much starch. Fruit is my thing. I was talking to the person on the call today. If I was to go raw vegan like overnight, like the weight would fall off, but I just don't like doing it. I wish you could get McDougal on one of these days. Yeah, it could happen. On vacation for a few months, I can't sleep. I'm still here, still jet lagged. Help me. What do I eat while on vacation? The food here is so rich. Yeah, here's the thing. Like I was, it's weird. I was just talking to somebody about that today, and I've got family who've gone over there to France for like 4, 6, 8 weeks, and they come back and they're skinnier. And I'm like, what the hell did you do? And they're like, I don't know. I ate like crazy, and I really didn't do a whole lot. But like, I really don't know. But I mean, they got great bread over there. They got to have stuff over there because I know there's actually a fairly large amount of vegans over there. Do I like chili? Yeah, I like chili. I was watching Chef AJ today. She looks very thin, like McDougal. I wonder if they went too low fat or it's just their body comp. For Chef AJ, it seems like she's just not eating enough. She's gotten too obsessed. For McDougal, like I've said a few times, he claims that he added 1,200 calories worth of almonds a day, but doesn't seem to be doing anything. Does raw tofu work well for me? It did. Here's the thing, like the first 145 or 50 pounds was so easy to get off, and I don't know why my body is stuck in this roller coaster this last however many pounds. It's driving me a bit batty, and that's actually kind of why I wanted to start a coaching group because I know there's going to be some people who just the entire time or they're just lose it like that. There's going to be people who like me, there's going to be people who lose consistently over amount of time and then they just get where they want to go. And I'm trying to figure out what's causing all of it for everybody. I think it's the walking. I lost weight when I lived in France. I ate a baguette a day with jam. I mean, there's no fat in baguette. I really don't buy into this, you're walking everywhere. Because if you look and like even when I was talking to that Brad Marshall, the people who have really high metabolisms generally are lazy as hell. Like they don't do a whole lot. You look great, Ryan. Thanks. I was actually thinking I look like shit because I haven't shaved in forever. Okay, I'll eat lots of bread and baguettes. Yeah, I mean, see what you can find over there as far as vegan. I've interviewed a couple people from France, and they've done quite well over there. Chef AJ takes thyroid meds, so that revs her metabolism a lot. It's not just the food she eats. Oh wow! So it didn't. See, here's the thing. This is you don't need to do that. This is she's so sugar phobic. It's too much. Too bad. I agree. It is nice when a guy has some weight on him. Okay. Maybe you could try just eating fruit all day, but have starch based dinner. That's what I do. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm telling you, if I'm, I'm gonna get this figured out. I, I just I don't understand. Something is off. Something mineral based, something vitamin based, something is off. Like my copper is low, and I have had issues back in the day with um low magnesium. The my vitamin D, I think, is off too. 'Cause there's I don't know. There's something other than food being going on here. I started not eating after 6:30 or sometimes 7:30. It's helping my gut. Yeah, I've known a lot of people that's helped. She does. Wow, I didn't know she took thyroid meds. Yeah, that's not great. Metabolism is key. 100%. Hormones is key. If your hormones are not in check, then you're screwed. And somebody sent me some legit stuff today that if you take copper, if you because my copper is low and it's been tested low. If you take enough copper, it will undo the stuff that I have going on with my pituitary gland, and we'll see what happens. It just baffles my mind because if you look at my videos last year, I look better than I knew to do now, and it makes absolutely no sense. It's weird too because I was eating more last year than I have been lately. She said when she lives off white rice, she gets too thin. I'm assuming you're talking about Chef AJ. Georgi Dinkov, he and I are supposed to be doing an interview on the 11th of July. The problem I'm running into with that, and he is running into it with that, is he lives in Washington, D.C., and I guess Washington, D.C. just passed the thing that anybody giving out health advice is at risk of being sued because they are not actually doctors. So he can only answer certain questions now. France is so amazing, and portions are smaller and normal over there. Why would you want to eat less though? Water weight. I don't know. Do you feel okay generally? Yeah, I feel all right. I read that eating plant-based only can mess up thyroid. So AJ and Nutmeg Lady are on high thyroid med. That is just nonsense. I proved that. I just showed my numbers the other day. If you have an injury, does fat make pain worse? I don't see what it would. Eating fat or being fat? That one right here. I eating plant-based can only mess. That is just such a stupid comment by them. Like I raised mine just adding sugar, literally sugar, like actual white sugar into my like I just increased it just doing that. Most of the time, what happens with the thyroid is you'll eat like hot dogs or something like that, or even if you go to McDonald's, there's something like 1,000 different bits of 1,000 different cows in each hamburger, if you can call it that. And what happens is there are going to be thyroid mixed in with that, and your body doesn't know the difference. So it's going to start attacking this thyroid that you just ate in the hot dog, and then it's going to start attacking your own thyroid. This is what happens. This is what they deem autoimmune disorder. And so people who have this, it's really hard to get rid of it because your body doesn't actually know the difference between the one that you just ate because you're not supposed to be eating it and the one that you actually have. So the autoimmune, it's going to attack both of them because it sees them as a threat now. And this is what happens to your thyroid. So when you go off of this fat laden and this all this crap diet, you eventually heal to the point where your thyroid isn't getting attacked anymore. And I literally doubled my T4 by adding sugar. So when they say this stuff, I know that they're just out in left field. Do certain meals or foods give you energy? I feel sluggish, want to snap out of it. So when I have that, I get my vitamin D 25 checked at the doctor, and it's usually low, and that's usually where I start. Have you, tried the potato diet? I did actually. I did, 2 years ago now, and I actually gained weight on it. I don't do well on too much starch because my body can't eliminate it quick enough. Total agreement, autoimmune response, 100%. They waste nothing at a slaughterhouse, of course, so they're just gonna put it in something. I mean, you can't even drive nowadays without driving on something 'cause, the mixture that they make asphalt or tarmac, whatever you call it, out of has, beef fluid stuff in it. It's you can't e it's just everywhere. Yeah, certain veggies over time knock out thyroid balance. Google it, please. I was shocked to learn this too. Even so, here's one thing. So Arnold, the guy that helped me back in the day, he's a raw vegan and he talks about this kind of stuff. And he tells people when they come into this life, don't eat anything that's not yummy for your tummy. So what does this mean? Fruits, anything that's really good to you, you eat it. Something that's bitter to you, bitter in the real world. If we didn't have people, doing our food for us, if you were out picking food and something is bitter, it means it very likely it's toxic and you wouldn't eat it. So a lot of these vegetables that people are forcing themselves to eat that are extremely bitter that really shouldn't we shouldn't be eating probably might be throwing our things off because you're not supposed to be eating it. Bill Gates says he wants to spray fruits with new special coating. I'm pretty concerned about this. Uh, he's not trust. Well, I don't even know if I mean he's listed as being dead since 2013. So who's actually Bill Gates these days? The special thing is that the experiment that people didn't take. So now they're starting to try to spray it on food. So, but I think that they can only do it under the experimental number, which I think is 3. So you can't stay away from that. I gained 15 pounds back, I think, from fasting. I might try the rice and fruit diet or mainly raw. Yeah, I would. Depends on how readily available fruit is for you. Can you gain weight if you eat too fast? Because I eat too fast everyone tells me probably your body wouldn't be able to digest it enough, and then it gets stuck in the digestion. Eating fast doesn't affect you if you eating fast doesn't affect if you gain weight. Yes and no. I mean, if you eat really fast and it slows up your digestion, technically you could have a run in, and then you're going to have digestion issues. Do you think dementia and Alzheimer's is connected to diet 100%, like from mercury in fish? No, I mean, so the study, I mean, I'm not really, yeah, I know I say this disclaimer, I'm not huge into studies, but the one that Harvard doctor did where there's one study where they studied mice, rats, they starved them and they lived longer than expected, right? But then they did redid that study with high carb, low fat versus fasting yourself, and the mice and the rats that did high carb low fat actually lived longer and they had better results than the ones that were fasting, and they realized that the fasting results were because there was less protein in the diet because the protein was getting stuck in the brain, and they could not so basically by fasting your brain health is better and you live longer. So yes, it's diet related. I was wondering why tar smells so bad when they're fixing the road. Yeah, there's byproduct in it. Ryan, look great. I haven't seen you live in a couple months. Thank you. Dr. Neil Barnard, low fat vegan talks a lot about food and Alzheimer's. It's a protein thing. From what I understand, from what I've read, and I know there's going to be somebody that corrects me, but the reason you get tired is there's so much toxic load in your brain that it needs to metabolize it, get it out of there, and then when you wake up, that's when it's done doing this. So if your body can't do that, if you're waking up sluggish every day, chances are your lymphatic system isn't draining fully or at all. And that's probably why you're feeling sluggish. It might not have anything to do with your what you're eating. Your body just might not be able to, it's taking time to get rid of this stuff, and it may take a long time. And then one day you wake up, you have energy like crazy, and you can't figure out why. Well, it's just because you finally got to a point where you weren't adding in so much toxic load that your body couldn't deal with it. You actually were just, this is why raw works so much. So it takes so little to digest raw, fruits and vegetables, that your body actually has energy to start working on other things. And that's why I don't like fully starch, because it takes more digestion power to digest starch than it does fruit and vegetables that aren't cooked. And yes, so the Alzheimer's thing. So if you can't get that out of your brain, if you can't detoxify fast enough, if your lymphatics is backed up, if your digestion is backed up, you're going to be sluggish every day. Gain weight eating a lot of high fat foods and sugar, and now I might have diabetes. Is she home? I got to see test results this week. Well, yeah, even if you do, I mean, like Kempner showed and McDougall has showed that you can get rid of it without doing any drugs. High fat food and sugar combined is a really bad idea, especially if it's like over 30% fat in your diet. You're going to be in the permanent Randall cycle. Or you are a coffee addict. They feel like crap without their coffee. Yeah, I try actually not to be around the coffee people. They irritate me. They push the wrong buttons. I don't like it. The oldest cure in the world by Stephen Hendricks. He'd be a good person to interview. What's the name? I've been writing everybody's name down. And I actually forget to contact everybody. Steve Hendricks. Maybe I'll remember. Hopefully it's not type 1. I thought you were born with type 1. I think you're born with type 1. If greens are so good for you, how come they're so bitter? So not all greens are bitter. And if you grow your own greens, you'll notice that they're not always bitter. So bitter greens is typically when you try to get too much yield out of greens, or they got too cold, or they bolted or something, or they might have tried flour, depending on the green. So there's a lot of different reasons that a green might actually be bitter. Some bitter, some like kale is always going to be bitter, and I really don't think that we should be eating kale. Something like romaine lettuce, if you've grown it yourself, or like green leaf or red leaf, that stuff is not bitter at all. Like at all. If you grow it right, if you grow it in the right season, you can't grow it, like right now is the right season for it. But once we hit in like July in the northern areas, northern hemisphere, once you start growing it, if you can even grow it in the late summer, it's going to be bitter. And that's where things come in. Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I have a bet going with somebody that by the end of July that I will have this damn thing. My problem is I can talk, right? But I don't like typing. And a lot of this stuff requires somebody to type, somebody to actually put effort into that. I need a ghostwriter is what I need. Otherwise, this thing would have been long since up if I had somebody to just do this damn typing for me and figure all that shit out. I don't feel like doing it. Now you can develop it. I'm pretty sure my ex-nephew's got it at age 7. That's still pretty young. I mean, you are not fully developed until, mid-teens. What else has animal byproduct in it? I mean, just about everything. I mean, it's real. I mean, look it up. It's almost hard to look up because it's gut-wrenching. I knew when I was working at the post office back in PA, one of the women I worked with, her husband worked at a pork place, and they used to kill 30,000 pigs every single day. You got to do something with all that, otherwise you're going to lose money. So the amount of stuff that is in this everything, because they sell it to, they find viable reasons to sell it to everybody, then it's really hard to get away from. Nice artwork at the wall behind you. Did you make this artwork? I did. If you go back and rewatch this, I actually showed some of my art for the first time. In the beginning here. Kind of like this. Like this is the last one that I showed. This is just like a bike, do it on a bike ride on a journey. But I showed some of that stuff at the beginning. Do you know where I can get a bike for free or really cheap? Check your area if they have a bike co-op. That's one of the best places to get it. 30,000. Don't know what that means. Um, I don't know what that means. Yeah. So bike co-op or go to garage sales. If you got, it's like garage sale season. Some of the times you can find like the best deals like ever at garage sales for bikes. Another thing is Facebook Marketplace. Sometimes you can find really good deals there. So there's different avenues to get bikes for cheap. You don't have to, spend a small fortune for it. Oh, did I say 30,000 pigs a day? Yeah, sorry. Usually I don't have brain farts like that, but yeah, 30,000 a day. You can probably get a good bike for like 50 bucks. I mean, honestly, some of the stuff that you find at these garage sales, especially in the beginning of the garage sale season and at the end of the garage sale season, is just like it's like shocking. I actually was making good money off that on eBay for a while, but my foot and my walking is just so limited. Wow, this cool art. Thank you. You have a real gift. Thank you for showing. Yeah, my sister and I both are like this, and we have people like, what idiot would have that kind of art talent and not be using it? But I don't. I really should. Craigslist too. Just ask for better deals on Craigslist. Yeah, I've checked Craigslist for like once maybe, so I don't even think of it. One that I just can't stand is Facebook Marketplace. I know you can get some good deals on there, but man, was it a pain in the ass. Would you sell your art on Etsy? I have in the past. I used to sell a lot of art down towards Cleveland in the art galleries, and then 2020 hit, and everybody got real funny about everything, and I just everything kind of fell apart. I was selling out like crazy. Yeah, especially the color stuff. Like I do a lot of black and white, but the color stuff, I mean, I was selling out, but it's just everything got so weird after 2020. Some places closed, some places just won't do art consignment anymore. I said, forget it. Green beans are not bitter. Love green beans, 100%. Do you think if you do no exercise and eat sugar, it can be a negative? No, not really. I bought my first pair of Zero shoes on sale this week. I hope I love them. Hopefully, I actually did a short about that today. I put a link in it. Anybody watching this interested in getting started, he's one in 30 to 50% off the Prio. Actually, where are they? Just go watch my short, the Prio and the HFS. I love both of them. They're both great shoes. Well, did you get the Prio or the HFS? If you're somebody who's just into walking and running, the HFS is perfect. It breathes really good. If you're somebody who wants the shoe that's going to do lifting, or you can lift in, or just all general, the Prio is definitely your ticket. I'm about to go whole food plant based with no sugar to get rid of the diabetes. If that's what I have, I mean, Walter Kempner, sugar, rice, and fruit. That's how he cured it 97% of the time. There's nothing wrong with sugar. This thing that people talking about sugar makes you have diabetes is just so asinine. When they list their sources of sugar, it's always donuts, cupcakes, muffins, cakes. It's always high fat with sugar in it, and that's always going to give you problem. Does it take time to get used to Zero shoes if you usually wear regular running sneakers? Probably. Your calves are going to be extremely sore in the beginning. Um, but not as much as probably something like a five finger. And I know they still make those. HFS, yeah, that's 100%. I love that shoe. Yeah, I know about Walter, but I don't get do much exercise. They didn't either. They did walking. 30,000 pigs, insane. They do that in the dairy industry too, finding ways to use even the waste product way. 100%. This is where whey protein, the casein. I mean, they knew this stuff was fatal for us, the toxic for us, but back in the day. And now then, marketing 101, let's sell this shit to everybody. Did they do a lot of calorie restriction though, like 400 to 800 calories? Yeah, for people who are extremely sick. I worry about sugar with history of high triglycerides. Any thoughts? So when you have high triglycerides in your system, you have high carbs. It's because your body's finally starting to release some of this fat that's in your system, and it's trying to get rid of it. You hear a lot about Walter Kempner, however, no one does his diet. Well, Duke University pretty much exists because of his diet. So that's not true. When people die, uh, you know, this stuff goes away. It's such a cheap thing. You know, nobody wants you on a cheap solution because cheap solutions don't make money for anybody. And so they just got rid of them. Duke University found some stupid reason to get rid of them, and the rice diet went away. You know, they got a whole lot of money. They advertise a whole lot of bullshit. People buy it. It's like Mark Twain says, it's easier to fool somebody than to show them they've been fooled. And people defend what they think is correct. So it really depends on, are you interested in your health, or are you interested in defending the lies that you've been sold? Do you answer DMs on Instagram? Yeah. I'd like to show you my blood test. Yeah, go for it. I mean, sometimes some different hospitals have different measures, but you can send them in there. Can you share where you bought the rice from Japan, if you remember? Yeah, I actually just found it on Amazon. There's a couple of different ways you can get it. So you can get it from Japan and have it shipped to you if you buy, or if you are willing, which I actually have, to have a address in Japan. So I have an address in Japan. It's a rerouting place, basically. So I forget what even the hell the name of it is. But you buy it, it goes to this place, because all I have to do now is go on the Japanese Amazon and I'll buy it. It gets shipped to this place and then they ship it to me. Or you can go on Amazon and just type in actual Japanese rice, and it's like $45 for 11 kilograms, which is 5.5 pounds. Um, it's really good rice. It's like phenomenal. It's absolutely the best rice I've ever had. But if you don't have a rice cooker, just don't bother with it. So that's the two different methods. So you can find a way to have it rerouted to you, because Japan will not ship rice out of the country. It just won't do it. They don't even have enough rice for the people there. So a lot of the rice that goes to Japan is from California. So they're not going to export it. Has any of your family gave you a gripe about being vegan? I have experienced this a lot. Gets annoying. Not really. No. No. The cheap solution by high carb regenerator. Yeah, exactly. Eliminate to regenerate. High carb, low fat is so boring, though. I'd rather track calories and actually lose weight. I don't even know what that means. I got sick of rice, so I started eating pasta. I gained 2 pounds. I just put fat-free marinara sauce on it. Maybe you can't eat pasta and lose weight. Maybe it's only rice. I don't really buy into that, but if you get American rice, it uses a lot of GMO flour, and that might be the issue. And there's a lot of salt in the fat-free marinara. So maybe try making your own sauce and see what happens there. How's your blood pressure currently? My blood pressure when I'm not at the doctor's office is great. When I go to the doctor's office, it usually goes up because I absolutely can't stand being around them people. What kind of rice is this? You should do an Amazon storefront. I do have one. Did I take that off? Let me look real quick. I did actually have some of that Amazon stuff going on. You know what? I don't think it's there. I know my rice cooker that I really like is there. So let me put that together, and in the next live that I do, I'll talk about that. I eat enormous amounts of pasta and never gain weight. BMI 19. I'm already fat though, and I'm trying to lose weight. Of all of the foods out there that might contribute to that. Pasta might be one of them, not because it's high in fat. It's just a lot of glyphosates and a lot of GMO. So you might not do well with it. Might want to stay away from it. But if you can get organic and if you can get it from Italy, that is definitely the best way to buy it. If you can't afford that, you might want to stay away because the glyphosates I know are really, really bad for people. Because what it does is it basically destroys internal organs of bugs, and so it's kind of doing that to you as well. So that can cause a lot of digestion issues. So I would stay away from it. That's why the GMO flour and the glyphosates and everything, you just got to watch out for it. You don't see a whole lot of that with rice, especially if it's from California, Thailand, Japan. Um, sometimes you see rice out of Bangladesh, and sometimes you see rice out of India. If you've got an Indian shop next to you and you like basmati rice, go check them out because sometimes you can get it out of India. They don't do a ton as far as I've seen with glyphosates, so you might be better off. If you really like pasta, you can get rice pasta. But you usually have to go to the Asian store for that. So if you get an Asian store, go check that out. I mean, there's many different ways to have noodles. You know, there's many different ways. So just check it out. In order for this fat belly I have to go away, should I really be eating so much rice? I mean, I don't need to exercise or something. Try mostly fruit. You know, the more water that you get in, and more watery foods that you get in, the better off you're going to be. What's your favorite book in self-help? Um, Choosing Your Own Greatness by Wayne Dyer. That's a really good one. I really can't believe he died so young, but he, he was working with a shyster, so unfortunately. It's either that or Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Those two are really good. Those two are really good. I'm not a huge fan of Tony Robbins. I just never have been. Good question. It is. It is a good question. Yeah. I like to talk about that kind of stuff because, I mean, the power of the mind, it's really something that you should never sell yourself short on. So if you're always thinking about how fat you are or whatever, you're going to get that in return. Like, if you're thinking about how broke you are, how fat you are, how ugly you are, if you know, blah, blah, they don't like me at work, they, this or that, you're just going to get it back. If you just change your mind, like, maybe, if for like a work thing, you're just like, well, they really need me and they're gonna start liking me or something like that. You start having that kind of thought, then chances are you're gonna see that. If you start thinking about how healthy you're gonna be, all of a sudden, like today, I had 3 different people email me about different things about the stuff that I had forgotten about that I've done in the past that has helped me really good. And, so if you start thinking about how healthy you are, you're just going to start having things come in. You're going to start doing different things based around that. So it really, don't ever discount it. Do I eat tofu? Not a whole lot. No, not a whole lot. Now, if I wanted for some reason to have as much gas as I could humanly have, I would eat tofu. That happened to me at a restaurant one time. It was like, wow, I've never had anything like this in my life. Tofu and I don't mix well. Thanks for answering my questions. I'm gonna blood done tomorrow. I'll message them to you when I get them done. Yeah, I mean here anyway, it's usually done the same day, so shouldn't be too long of a wait. But yeah. So anyway, I'm shocked at how long I've been on here. I think I'm gonna get heading out here pretty soon. So any more comments, questions, whatever? If you want to see the art, like I know it's in the title and everybody's gonna be like, well, you didn't show it to us. It's at the beginning of the video. So if you're watching this now and you actually want to see some of the stuff I showed, it's at the beginning. 2 pounds is really nothing. I can gain 6 pounds in one day and lose it the next day. I'm always between 120 and 130. Yeah, I mean, I have a 20-pound fluctuation. Some days I'm 262, some days I'm 282. It's like what? So it's all over the place. It really has more to do with how much salt you eat, how much stress you have. Is your lymphatic system draining? If your lymphatic system isn't draining, you are really going to struggle to lose weight. Do you have sugar every day? No, no, I don't. And when you take sugar, do you measure it in like grams? How much do you take for the day? When I did the pound a day thing, what I did is I would measure out a pound of sugar in a little container, and then I would make sure that the container was gone by the end of the day. When I just add it to things, I have a little quarter cup scoop thing in the container that I keep the sugar in, and I just kind of measure it like that. I don't get too anal about it, you know. I kind of do it by taste. Like if you're gonna go for a bike ride, if you're gonna go for a hike, or you're gonna go for something like that, I kind of go for what will actually come out of whatever squirt bottle, whatever you're using. Because if you make it too thick, then it won't actually come out. So I try to like maybe a third of the container of sugar and the rest water. How do we get in touch with you after this? Well, I've told you a few times to DM me on Instagram. That's about the best I can do right now. I am going talking about positive affirmation. I'm going to have this thing running by the end of the summer for sure. If hopefully July, I got to just sit myself down and get myself doing typing. 1 cup of sugar has like 700 calories. Laugh out. Yeah, yeah. And when I did it, my weight went down, my testosterone doubled, and my thyroid went from hypothyroid to normal thyroid in a matter of, I think it was 2 months. So I mean, you could go watch those videos. When I was looking like the best, like last year, that's when I was doing the pound of sugar a day. But everybody's like, why didn't you keep doing it? I did start having trouble with my gut. It did start getting really irritated by it. So I have to find a different sugar. Have you ever had road rage? Positive affirmations help mine. Not really. No. Maybe back in the day. Maybe back in the day, like when I was lifting, I had a lot more rage back then. Not in a long time, no. I just don't care. Like if you need to go fast, go. Well, I kind of look at it like this. Like if somebody really needs to do speeding, right? They're just gonna find a cop for me. So like if they're gonna just blow past me, they're gonna just kind of clear out the cops for me, and then I can just kind of keep driving, and I don't even have to worry about it. What are your thoughts about Dr. Rogers' eating plan now? Fruit and starches with veg once a day. Um, if it works for you, so here's the thing: can you eliminate it? And I think that's the biggest key. Can you eliminate what you're eating? If you're somebody who can't get rid of pasta, if it doesn't come out of your system very fast, and it might cause you to have inflammation, and that's going to be the weight gain that you're seeing. It really depends. It really depends on your body and its ability to get rid of what you're eating. If you can eat starches all day and you like starches all day, then go for it. Now, I do think that you need to add vegetables to it, and greens really do help if it's decent greens. But I do like his plan. Some of it is a little calories in, calories out for me. Soy is high in fat and estrogen, according to Peter Rogers. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Ironically, they use soy to make testosterone for in pharmacies. So I guess it has both. Yeah, as far as Rogers really just borrowed from McDougall. McDougall really just borrowed from Pritikin and Kempner. And I think Pritikin pretty much kind of got his ideas of what he was doing off that Himhinini out of Denmark during World War One. And so the lineage goes down, 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 and down. I mean, there's somebody that you're going to get everything from, and adopting it to your specific conditions is probably the best way to do it. And that's why I want to start working with people, because I think that some people would do better on fruit, some would do better on starch. Depends on what you're really trying to do. All righty. I think that's it. I'm going on an hour here. I really didn't even think it was going to go this long. I really do appreciate you guys watching. Any last questions here? I guess it just hit 7 o'clock. My screen changed. Yeah. No. All right. Thanks, Ryan. Have a good rest of your day. Yep. You too. And I will see you in the next one, whatever that happens. Anyway, have a good day.